Good morning everyone. I am Sharmila and welcome to my presentation. As you can see on the screen, our topic today is open source software. First of all, what is open source software? Open source software is a free software for your business or personal use. Open source developers freely share their knowledge and make the source code available to the public. The software is distributed with license which allows other developers can modify it and add to it. Some examples of open source software are WordPress, Ubuntu and Mozilla, creators of the Firefox browser. Two principles we can call particular software as open source software. Principle 1. The software source code should be available with license and that license contain permissions. They are the user is able to study the code, the user able to change the code, they may able to improve the code. And principle 2. The license should not have certain restrictions in terms of technology, field, hardware. Technology. Here technology means operating system. In the computer science, there are many different operating systems available. Here the software must support all kind of operating systems such as Unix, Linux and Mac OS. Next one is field. Nowadays computer enter into many fields such as agriculture, medical and biotechnology fields. Here the software must support or works in all fields. The next one is hardware. In this context, hardware means devices such as Nokia, Samsung and Cellcom. Here the software should work on support all kind of devices. These are the principles. The next topic is need of open source software. There are lot of reasons why people choose open source software. The first one is free redistribution and another one is transparency and security and reliability, easier evolution, better support, possible savings. These are the needs of open source software. First one, free redistribution. The license shall not restrict any party from selling or giving away the software as a component of an aggregate software distribution containing programs from several different sources. And next one is transparency. Need to know exactly what kind of data are moving where or what kind of changes have happened in the code. And open source allows you to check and track that it for yourself without having to rely on vendor promises. The next one is security and reliability. Numerous people with different skill levels may work on the same software, which may lead to code inconsistency. Authors and users improve a solution because they need it to perform well. The next one is easier evolution. Full transparency of a source code allows your team to examine and evaluate a product learning about its capabilities and flaws. The next one is better support. As an open source software user, you have more ways of getting technical advice and support. Next one is possible savings. The purchase cost for an open source software is usually lower than for a commercial one, and free open source programs also exist. No licensing issues, speed of access. These are the needs of open source software. The next topic is advantages of open source software. Open source software can have a major impact on your entire organization. There are several advantages of using open source software. The following are list of advantages of opting for open source software are lesser hardware cost, high quality software, no vendors lock-in, integrated management, simple license management, lower software cost, rapid debugging, rapid further development, easy integration and interactions, evaluating software or evolving software. These are the advantages of open source software. And next one is applications of open source software. These are the applications of open source software. First of all, open source technology makes a real business sense. It is free and of very high quality. Also, it is often more effective than most of the products available commercially and non-commercially. Some applications listed below are accounting, content management system, desktop environment, email clients, file sharing, graphic design and modeling, messengers and communication clients, project management, web browser. These are the applications of open source software. The next topic is Linux. First of all, what is Linux? Linux is an operating system that was first created at the University of Helsinki in Finland by a young student named Linus Torvalds. At this time, the student was working on a Unix system that was running on an expensive platform. Because of his low budget and his need to work at home, he decided to create a copy of the Unix system in order to run it on a less expensive platform, such as an IBM PC. He began his work in 1991 when he released version 0.02 and worked steadily until 1994 when version 1.0 of the Linux kernel was released. The current full-featured version at this time is 2.2.x, released January 25, 1999, and development continues. Reasons to use Linux. Configurability. Linux distributions give the user full access to configure just about any aspect of their system. The next one is convenience. While Linux takes some effort to get set up, once it is set up, it is surprisingly low maintenance. Next one is stability. Linux is based on the Unix kernel. It provides multitasking and protected memory. And another one is community. Linux is part of the greater open source community. Next, freedom. Linux is free. These are the reasons to use Linux. The next concept is general overview of Linux. Linux is capable of running on devices such as simple as wristwatch or a cell phone, but it can also run on a home computer using, for example, Intel or AMD processors, and it's even capable of running on high-end servers using SunSpark CPUs or IBM PowerPC processors. Linux kernel is an operating system kernel. These properties of Linux are: Linux is free, Linux is portable, Linux is secure and versatile, Linux is scalable, very short debug time. These are the properties of Linux. If you look at this diagram or table, Linux versus Windows. First of all, cost. Linux is free cost, Windows is expensive. Linux is open source, Windows is not open source. Security. Linux is more security, Windows is vulnerable to viruses and malware attacks. Linux is case sensitive and Windows is case insensitive. Linux is free software, Windows is closed software. The next topic is kernel mode and user mode. An operating system can have various modes of operation, and these modes define standardized instructions for deciding what resources can be accessed, limit memory access, and more in order to protect data and provide system security. There are two types of modes, user mode and kernel mode. A kernel mode is also known as supervisor mode. If If you look at this diagram, kernel is basically a software that is bridge between the application and hardware. The applications are software, the request for the hardware through kernel. For example, a PDF file download and saved it. To save that file, we need kernel permissions. This is the diagram. Application, programs, kernel, CPU, memory, IO. And if you look at this another diagram, user application, user process executing, call system call, and kernel mode execute system call, and user mode return from system call. This is the diagram. If you look at this process and scheduling, an instance of a running program is called a process. Linux is multitasking operating system, which means that multiple programs can be running at the same time. As a process executes, it changes states. First state, new. The process is being created. If you look at this diagram, new state, the process is being created. And next, running. Instructions are being executed. Waiting. The process is waiting for some event to occur. Ready. The process is waiting to be assigned. Terminated. The process has finished executing. This is the diagram. New state to runnable state to running state, running to stopped state or terminated. This is the signals: SIG stop, SIG continue, SIG kill, SIG in, SIG up. These are the signals of the process. The next one is scheduling goals. Fast process response time, good throughput for background jobs, avoidance of process starvation, need of low and high priority process, support for soft real-time process. These are the scheduling goals. The next one is classification of processes. The first one is interactive process. Example, cells, text editors, GUI applications are the interactive processes. Next, batch processes. Compilers, database, search engine, web servers are the batch process. And next one is real-time process. Real-time process are the audio or video applications, data collection from physical sensors, robot controllers are the real-time processes. Next, actions performed by schedule. Treat current process, select process, switch process are the actions performed by schedule. The next one is system calls related to scheduling. These are the names. First, nice. Next, get priority, set priority, schedule get scheduler, schedule get scheduler, schedule get parameters, schedule set parameters, schedule yield, schedule get priority minimum, schedule get priority maximum, schedule get intervals. These are the systems call related to scheduling. These functions are, these commands are used in the process. Next topic is signals. Signal means already see the signals in process concept. If you look at these diagrams, running and stopped state, the signal pass to signal stop. The arrow mark is seen, signal is stop, and signal kill, signal continue. These are the signals to process. The concept is signals. Every signal has a symbolic name starting with SIG. The signal names are defined in the header files. signal.h, which must be included by any C program that uses signals. Signals are nothing but interrupting the process. Each signal has an integer number that represent 1, 2 and so on, as well as symbolic names that is usually defined in the header file. Signals are signal hang up the process, signal int interrupt the process, signal quit stop the process, signal kill unconditionally terminate the process, signal terminate the process if possible, signal stop unconditionally stop but don't terminate the process, signal stop or pause the process but don't terminate, signal continue a stopped process. These are the Linux signals. Next topic is cloning. The process of creating duplicate copy of a parent process is called as cloning. The cloning standard form is int clone of int pointer fn comma void pointer child underscore stack comma int flags comma int n args. These are the standard form of cloning. A cloning process can be created in Linux using clone command. During the clone process, one or more parts of the parent context gets affected as follows: address space, file system control, and open file descriptor, process identifiers. These are the affected as follows. And in this standard form, parameter fn is a pointer from the child process to the function to be executed. The parameter child stack is a pointer to the zone of memory allocated for the stack of the child process. Several constants defined in the header file linux schedule.h. These are the constant. Clone VM. The child process shares the address space with the parent process. Clone FS. The child process share root and current directories with the parent process. Clone files. The child process shares the open file descriptor with the parent process. Clone PID. The child process has the same number as the parent process. These are the constant of the clone. Next topic is personalities. First of all, what is personality? Linux support different execution domains or personalities for each process. And the next topic is personalities. Linux support different execution domains or personalities for each process. Among other things, execution domains tell Linux how to map signal numbers into the signal actions. The execution domain system allows Linux to provide limited support for binaries compiled under the other Unix like operating systems. This function will return the current personality when persona equals OXFF. Otherwise, it will make the execution domain referenced by persona the new execution domain of the current process. This is the personality name. Personality set the process execution domain. Synopsis includes system personality.h. int personality unsigned log person and return value. These are the personality and return value. On success, the previous persona is returned. On error, -1 is returned and error number is set appropriately. These are the personalities and these are the Linux topics. Thank you all for listening. Thank you very much. Thank you.